Oh, welcome everyone. We've just had 100 subs. By the time you're watching this, goodness knows what we've reached, but thank you so much for joining me on the journey. Today we're looking at a UK dividend payer, the largest insurer in the United Kingdom, Aviva. They provide insurance across the board, so let's have we look into it. They do car insurance, home insurance, life, health and equity release. Now a lot of you are probably familiar with Aviva, which is a good starting point to any company. If you're familiar with the services or you actually use their services, but like me and the likes of Royal Mail, you have a bit of a head start on other people when it comes to knowing what they do. Because never invest in a company that you don't understand. It's always good to know the ins and outs and what they provide and whether you see into the future, well, if they're a good bet. Now, of course, none of this is financial advice, but let's move on to their investor section. Now, this is one of the most useful places for information. Now, I sometimes use it to great effect in certain companies. Other companies, it's a hit and miss. I might just go to Dividend data and Trading 212 to look into the company just at a glance. If you want to go real deep, this is the section to use. I'll have it linked down in the pinned comment below for anyone that's interested. As you can see here, you can click in, it goes into depth about their dividends, return to capital, everything regarding shareholders and it's just everything. Their strategy reports, business models, about us, they try and sell themselves to you, as this is all geared towards investors. Now, you can also see newsroom. Some of them provide news, but usually it's quite tailored to be mostly positive, but you should always do a wee Google search of news involving this company. You'd be amazed what you could dig up. Now, let's go on over here to their ticker symbol on the London Stock Exchange, trading at AV. We have Aviva PLC. As you can see here, they have 18 million customers across the United Kingdom, Ireland and Canada. 3 pretty large markets. Now, let's have a look at the max range. From trading in 1988, although it says they were just founded in 2000. I won't look too deeply into that one now. Let's see, up to 2008, went down. It seems their absolute lowest was £2.14. They're currently trading at £4, so that's about $5 for anyone across the water in the US, or anyone that needs to know it in dollars. And let's look at the last 5 years. Normally that paints a bit of a better picture for us, as max it just is going to 1988. We don't need to know too much about the year I was born as to the the share price of Aviva. So, trading at £6 in 2017. They had a major dip in March of 2020. You notice that as a pattern among most companies, possibly due to some sort of pandemic that occurred at that time. They have climbed up quite steadily until April to May. They also seem to have a major drop. Now, I believe I know what could have been possibly a factor as to why that happened. Now, their dividend yield sits at 7.24%. Well, about 7% to round it up, because Trading 212 and Dividend Max give slightly different figures. But we're going to jump over to one of my favourite websites, Dividend Max. Now, I love to play about with the calculator, but I love, more importantly, showing you what exactly this is. So, gives you all the information regarding the dividends. It's one of the best tools for any dividend investor, so let me show you everything you need to know. It tells you here their next dividend is expected to go X in 11 days. Now, anyone relatively new to the channel wants to know what X means. It doesn't mean ex-girlfriend, it means the X dividend date. That is the date that you must own the share in order to get payment of the dividend. You sell the share before that, or even on the day, sometimes you mightn't get the dividend paid into your account. However, you sell it the day after, obviously it'll be sold onto the market to someone else. They don't get the dividend payment, you do. So that's a very important date. Declaration date is basically the day they declare, this is the dividend, this is what we're paying, and this is the ex-dividend date. But the ex-dividend date's the date you really need to know. Payday can be a couple of days after the date, just because of the way banking and all works. So they typically pay 2 per year. Now, every 6 months, that is quite usual in the UK. It would be more common in the US to see the likes of either monthly dividends or quarterly. But in the UK, 2 dividends per year tends to be the norm. So let's see here, £101 if you had 100 shares. Now you might be going, but that's £4 a share, isn't that a bit extreme? Well, that's why I believe there was a massive drop, because you're about to see here, they actually issued a special dividend at £1 a share, nearly 25% of their current value, which to me, when was that paid out? Ex-dividend date was the 16th of May. What happened on the 16th of May for their share price? And boom. That's some value to drop. Was that worth the special dividend for the capital value that dropped? Here, to some people that could be a buying opportunity. Of course, this channel is not about financial advice. We're simply going through all the tools and whatnot to make as informed a decision as you can. Let me jump on over to Trading212, the platform that I use, and just have a wee nosy here. As you can see, the last 3 months we're only down a casual 28% from that special dividend that was paid out in May. Now, I'm not too sure as to why that was paid out. However, that is one of the fantastic things about investing. You got a question? Have we Google? Find the answer. That's to me, that's half the fun. It's just finding out why. You know, you ever see a wee news article, you ever see something pop up regarding a company, always be thinking, I wonder how that would affect their share price. And see, 9 times out of 10, maybe even 10 times out of 10, you'll find that there's a wee bump up or down. Now, which direction it goes could be anyone's guess. Normally, bad news can lead to it going down, although you never, ever quite know in this world that we live in, lads. Let's see. They employ 22,000 people based in London. Obviously, sectors finance and industry is insurance, mainly life insurance. Market cap of 11 billion, a pay ratio of 49.15. Now, that seems quite high, but the thing about pay ratios is you always have to factor in what industry they're in. That could be lower, that could be high for the insurance industry, which is why I would recommend that you would go check other companies and compare their one. In fact, do you know what we'll do? We'll do that right now. Let's see. They also had a drop in net income between 2020 and 2021. Unsure if that's COVID related. Again, it's all up in the air of whether it is COVID related, but they had a massive drop in cash flow leading into the pandemic. But I'm not too sure how much of 2020 was the pandemic and how much of it was just, you know, maybe something going wrong. Anyway, pay ratio of 49.15. I'm going to actually look up the Admiral Insurance Group, a company that I actually have shares in, and see what their pay ratio. Yeah, it sits down at about 8.65%. But you have to remember that the revenue difference, I mean, the revenue of Admiral is 1.55 billion, and the revenue of Aviva is significantly higher, if I remember, 32 billion. So yeah, Admiral's a small fish in the market when it gets compared to Aviva. Now, I of course do have shares in Admiral and not Aviva. I think I will do a wee bit more of a deeper dive into Aviva for myself to see if it fits in my portfolio. Although, again, going by the annual dividend chart here, it's a little all over the place. I mean, the only thing I could say is a major positive is at least they're paid every year. Even in the pandemic and 2011, where a lot of companies suspend the dividend payments, you can see that Aviva kind of held strong, and if you had shares with them, you were being paid your dividend no matter what. Now, what happened this year, I'm not too sure. But again, maybe because it's been such a drop, maybe this might be the time, you know, to have a look. Maybe for myself, might be the time to buy in or have a wee look into getting into Aviva. Never know, because, you know, life insurance, being a general insurer, that's good, but see, life and pensions, that's big game in the background. So, yeah. Announces one-off payment. See, there you go, news. The news section, always click into it, have we look in any company, and we can compare them. Who can I compare them to? AXA. Yeah, as you can see that we drop there. The compare function on Google is actually pretty cool. I rarely use it. Let's compare them to legal in general as well. Strange that. But yes, that is Aviva looked at. Hopefully, lads, you make your own informed decision. I hope it goes well for you, as always. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you in another episode. Bye-bye.